So good day mga katribu. It's another exciting episode of Straight Talk where we bring you the stories and insights that shape the industries and communities around us. I'm Alvin Kasiban and I'm thrilled to be with you today. We're live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune on YouTube, offering you in-depth discussions with the country's top leaders and experts. Today we have a very special guest. Joining us is Mr. Joseph Alcazar, the President and CEO of Clark International Airport Corporation, or CIAC. The CIAC is the premier aviation and land development arm of the Bases Conversion and Development Authority, or BCDA, and it plays a vital role in managing and overseeing Clark International Airport, which has rapidly evolved into one of the Philippines' most important aviation hubs. The Clark International Airport is at the center of a vibrant ecosystem that blends aviation, logistics, commerce, and sustainable development. With its 2,367-hectare, the Clark Aviation Capital, the CIAC, is driving economic growth for both the region and the nation. Mr. Alcazar, thank you for joining us today. It's an honor to have you here in the show. How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you, Alvin, for inviting me.
All right, of course, it's our pleasure.
Jojit na lang, ha? Just call me
Sir
Jojit.
Georgette. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, sir. So let's get into it na rin agad, sir. So for the first question, what is your long-term vision for the Clark International Airport, and how do you plan to position it as a major regional aviation hub? Since as we can see, in the past years, the Clark, Pampanga, especially at the Clark City, is rapidly developing in a really fast-paced, and a lot of businesses, a lot of investors are coming into the place. So how do you plan to adjust and to accommodate this rapid growth?
Yeah, first and foremost, the airport is part of the entire development.
Yes.
No? The Clark International Airport. Previously, SIAC, the company, no, we used to operate the airport, the actual airport, but now the airport has been privatized, so it has been being operated now by a company called Lipad. No? Lipad is a consortium, no, between local companies and Changi Airport of Singapore. Ergo, the world-class, running and operations of the airport, primarily because of our foreign partner, which is Changi of Singapore. No? And as I've said, no, SIAC previously the primary purpose of SIAC previously was operating the airport and leasing some properties around the airport. But now we have transformed, no, the purpose of the organization, of which is, as you've said, it is the land development and aviation arm of the BCDA,
BCDA, yes.
right? Having said that, we have transformed the purpose of the organization to develop the Clark Aviation Capital. No? So you have, di ba? When you have property developments, for example, here, one of the more successful property developments of BCDA is BGC. So it's the Bonifacio Global City. No, what we intend to do in the aviation capital is to be the center, no, of logistics, MROs, entertainment. Because at the end of the day, when we develop the area, when we develop the entire area, it attracts tourists coming in. No, you have to get you need to find a purpose,
Yes.
for them to fly in. One are the regular travelers. No, we serve the Central and North Luzon for regular travelers. Have you been to the airport there?
Yes, I have, sir. I have. It's really nice.
So I hope you're impressed with the facilities and how the airports run there. So as I've said, no, one is to service the population in the immediate vicinity, from Clark all the way to North Luzon and the neighboring provinces and cities. But another one is to drive tourism, into Clark. No, whether it's leisure tourism, business tourism, and as I've said, the grand plan for the entire Clark area, including the Clark Aviation Capital, is to be able to house and host these tourists to the different infrastructure that we are building for them.
All right, sir. You've mentioned na kanina na one of the successful projects of the BCD is yung BGC nga. And as I can see, no, yung naging development ng BGC over the past decade, actually two decades na ever since it was developed. It was fast, no? So are we seeing a same pattern here with Clark, and how was it compared to 10 years ago? What are the new offerings, the specific new offerings, the let's say kasi pinupush natin nga na ano na maging tourism hub din to, no? So what are the difference between kung ano meron sa BGC and ano meron special sa Clark, and yun nga, paano siya, sir, naging different compared to 10 years ago?
You know, more than a difference, probably it's a commonality of strategy. You know, the strategy, I believe, no, of BCD at that time was, you know, they have a sort of like a school in an education area, no, where ISM, BSM, the Japanese international schools are. And then those were one of the first few developments there. And a few low-rise buildings which catered to ano naman, entertainment and recreation. So once that was there, the entertainment and recreation part, nung nandun yun, then people went to BGC for that one. I don't know, you're pretty young, but it was the fourth strip before. Right? So people come to BGC, and when they come to BGC, kita nila maayos na yung horizontal development, and they see the development around.
Yes.
Right? And the schools, the international schools, I believe the primary purpose of that is again to enhance BGC as a center of business and trade. Right? Kasi yung mga the foreign companies willing to invest in the Philippines, no, the expats, one of the first things they look for is saan mag-aaral yung anak ko?
Yes.
Right? So what I'm saying is BGC started with key infrastructures to attract the investors, to attract the people, no, the locals in Metro Manila coming to BGC. It's no different from the strategy of Clark, no, or the Clark Aviation Capital, where you springboard all development with the airport that's there. The key infrastructure is the Clark International Airport, no, and then we are building all the other facilities, infrastructures around to be able to support the airport and support tourists coming in.
All right, sir. For the next question, how do you plan to attract for the part, no sa airport and sa Clark, o ano pa yung mga pwedeng aabangan naming plano ngayon ng Clark to when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to activities, kasi actually, sir, ngayon meron ng tawag dito, meron ng mga wakeboarding na activities na pwede gawin sa Clark. Actually, I go there almost
really?
every week, sir.
Really? My cousin runs that.
Sa Deca, right? So, ayun, sir, ano pa yung, do you have more plans to
Definitely.
to do more activities na centered na centers, basically?
Definitely. You know, within the Clark Aviation Capital, no, we decided not to call it Clark Aviation City, but Capital. It sounds bigger, you know. It sounds bigger and grander. The Clark Aviation Capital will always support the One Clark vision.
Okay.
Meaning the One Clark vision wherein the Clark main zone, where you see the hotels now, and outside Clark, where the wakeboard park is, the hotels, the casinos, and the Clark main zone, and the new Clark City being developed by BCDA, you know, where we hosted the Southeast Asian Games, and there are a lot of industrial locators going there. In fact, there's a sort of like an EV battery factory that was recently launched by the president himself, no, together with the BCDA CEO, Mr. Bingkang, no, and they've been developing that new Clark City area, no, into you know, a really progressive, new progressive city, no. I mean, universities, central bank will be there, madaming developments, and the role of the Clark Aviation Capital is to support all of these, no. But also within the aviation capital, focusing on 3 key items that we want to do. We want to do agro-logistics. We want to do promote aviation-related industry. and an entertainment and convention hub. Now, first, the agro-logistics, we're building a national food hub. No, it's the first in the Philippines. It is actually modeled from international food hubs, wherein the objective of our president, no, President Marcos, is one of his actually the primary one of his primary objectives is food security, right? So the National Food Hub aims to help address the food security issues of the country, and at the same time develop the logistics and production capability of the Filipinos to provide food within the region, and at the same time to be able to help our farmers, no, be able to expand their market, no, and export. Because at the end of the day, sorry kung madaldal ako.
It's okay, sir.
At the end of the day, the airport is just one. But did you know that as committed, no, in a couple of years, the rail will be there. The rail from Manila will terminate at Clark International Airport, no. When the rail terminates there are a lot of activities that we can already do within the area. So as I've said, the National Food Hub supports the program of the national government for food security. And then we have the World Convention and Events Hub, no, where we will house, similar to saan ba to Hong Kong or Amsterdam or Dubai, for that matter. The World Trade Centers of those countries or of those cities are situated near the airport. Okay, we know for a fact that there's a big opportunity in MICE, meetings, incentives, conventions, and exhibitions. It drives tourism to the country, and at the end of the day, also contributes to the growth of the national economy, diba? Incoming tourists, supporting the hotels out there. That's the entertainment hub. Entertainment hub with your outlet shopping, tax-free shopping, and everything. And the third one is to support the aviation industry. We intend to be, the capital again of the aviation industry, not just in the country but in the region. No? Center for logistics, center for cargo, center for MRO. MRO are maintenance, repairs, and operations of aircrafts. No, this is a critical service that we can provide to the international community.
You've mentioned, sir, yung sa cargo. Pero nabanggit nyo rin kanina, it's being managed by a private entity now called Lipad. To go into the specifics, how the SIAC work hand in hand with Lipad on the operational side?
On all aviation-related activities, no? We closely coordinate with Lipad and BCDA and DOTR for that matter. No, DOTR as a national regulator. No, SIAC for that matter is in the board of SIAC. We're represented by DOTR and BCDA and the Department of Tourism as well. So it's just even within the board, we try to push the entire ecosystem to be able to promote the aviation industry.
Okay, sir. You've mentioned nga kanina, no, yung sa cargos nga. Ito, how do you intend, no, how the SIAC intend to enhance Clark's cargo handling capabilities and to attract more international cargo carriers?
Yeah, I don't think I need to get into specifics there, but we know for a fact that the FedEx and UPS hub is already there. So those are the two biggest globally.
All right.
Right? And the DHLs of the world will also operate from will have their main hub in Clark, no? So at the end of the day, probably because of the facilities and the availability of land that we have there. And of course, the expertise of our private partners and our government regulators at DOTR, no, and at CAAP, we are able to provide this holistic environment for these international cargo companies to be able to locate and have their headquarters in Clark.
All right, sir. I will be asking more questions about
Sure.
Clark, but For now, we will take a short break. Kaya alis, mga katribo.
And this break is brought to you by Angkas, Beat the Traffic, Bayad Center, hashtag Bigger Better Younger Bayad, and you can buy it all. Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart, live more today. Union Bank, it starts with you.
Tune in to Daily Tribune's show aimed at addressing the needs and problems of our OFWs from different corners of the globe. Hear about their plights and success stories every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. only on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
Straight Talk dives deep into pressing issues of leadership, politics, business, and more. Engage in insightful conversations with industry shakers, government leaders, and trailblazers every Wednesday at 10 a.m. only here on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now in YouTube.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister, today the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as Utol, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling. Now, who would you prefer to drive you home? Utol, the ride-hailing app to consider.
And welcome back to Straight Talk. And still we have here the President and CEO of the Clark International Airport Corporation, Mr. Joseph Alcaraz.
Alcazar.
Alcazar! Nalilito talaga ako.
Okay lang, boss.
Alcazar, Mr. Joseph Alcazar. Alright, sir. So to get back with the questions, ito naman, this time, how does Clark plan to integrate sustainable and eco-friendly practices naman in its urban planning? Kasi as we can see, no, sa BGC, ang daming, ngayon, while it is very industrialized and talagang the economy there is really moving, pero one of the issues, no, na sinasabi ng mga tao, especially nakikita natin sa social media, na parang wala ng mga green areas sa BGC. And now we can see that with Clark, that's very luscious. Still, kahit develop na siya, ang dami pa ring areas doon na talagang you can say na alright, province pa rin siya, no? So with its rapid development, yun nga, sir, how do you plan to integrate sustainable and eco-friendly practices?
There are a couple of programs, no. One part of our flagship program is an urban renewal program, no. Meaning, no, in terms of all our developments, there will always be open spaces and parks. That's part of the master plan. In fact, we're developing. There's a long river that crosses through Clark, which is called the Dolores River. We're planning to develop around that river into sort of like a nature park. Sort of like your, if you compare to Singapore, no, it's nature and commercial, sort of like your Clark Quay. But one of the sustainable objectives there really is to make the river park and certain parts of our development as catchment, no, as water catchment. What we can do there, una-una, yung water catchment can help us in the future prevent floods. Although you know for a fact that Clark is a very disaster resilient area. Walang bagyo, walang earthquake. But then again, no, moving forward and looking forward to the future, we will have those rain catchment areas, no, for us to be able to mitigate flood if there are in the future. And number two is to recycle gray water. When we recycle gray water, then it also addresses the the availability and supply of water if ever there will be a shortage in the future. That's number one, no? Our urban renewal heritage program, no? We're redeveloping all the parks as well. And then together with the DOTR, no? We are working with them on reduced carbon emissions for the airport, no? I think there's a, if I'm not mistaken, there's a 2050 strategy, no, in terms of reducing carbon emissions. This can also create a new industry in terms of regulating the use of regulating or promoting the use of biofuel for the carriers and the airlines. This is a program. This is a global program. Other international airports have been working toward practicing this. So yun, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, the end objective also is for us to be able to generate carbon credits for Clark, no, leading to a very sustainable environment.
All right, sir. Kamusta yung ano pala, yung responses sa mga neighboring towns, no? Na di ba sila nagrereklamo like eto dito parang nagiging congested masyado yung traffic going to Clark, or parang nababother ba sila na yung mga infrastructures and yung mga developments, no, bridging yung mga neighboring towns niya to Clark, which is yung nga around Pampanga na din, sulod Tarlac na, sir, no? So kamusta yung feedback from them, and how are they helping the Clark Aviation Capital to achieve its goals?
Well, you know, there are several ways to answer. Number one, I think they're happy because we provide employment. You know, the more progress that you do in the area, the more employment that it generates. And the immediate source of employment are the neighboring cities or the province in itself. No? Number two, we continuously, you know, we will continuously improve the road networks. All these developments, the National Food Hub, the I forgot to mention, we're also doing those key programs kanina. Part of our objectives within the next few years is to establish a world-class aviation campus.
Wow, okay.
No? An aviation campus, no? I mean, it should really be world-class with an internationally known aviation university to be located within Clark. So all of these developments, including the convention, the World Trade Center, the retail hubs that we will have within the airport and outside of the airport, will be supported by, you know, expanding and master planning, which has been master planned pala already, the road networks. One critical infrastructure is a direct access from SETEX. Okay.
I see.
You might say, no, SETEX, okay naman. You have your North and Clark exit, maluwag na yun. As in, maluwag naman yun. But it will take you around 10 minutes from SETEX to get to the terminal, no? Or to the development. So, ambitious and medyo impatient. We want, in less than a minute, nandun ka na.
Nandun na.
So, part of the plans, really, and we're working toward that, is to have a direct access link to SETEX. And you've seen the road network naman by our national tollway companies. You know, as I've said, you can easily get from Alabang to Clark in a couple of hours. Actually, in an hour and 30 minutes.
From Alabang to Clark.
To Clark North or Clark South. An hour 30, 35 minutes.
Skyway to NLEX.
Skyway and Lex SETEX. Then it takes you 10, 15, 20 minutes to navigate the inside of Clark. Kasi malaki ang Clark. Right? So imagine if the link is there, the direct access link, it's talagang, you know, I can comfortably say an hour 35 driving. But as I don't know if it was in the interview or pre-talk earlier, the rail's going to be there in a few years, no? When the rail, when the passenger rail is there, then it supports all the people going into the going in and out of Clark, no? Which reinforces the fact that it can be a major transport hub, because besides that rail terminating there, that passenger rail, there are also plans by the government also in the final stages of developing a freight rail naman between Clark and Subic and Batangas and Manila.
Very ambitious, sir.
Very ambitious yun, no? That's a program of the national government. When you have that, then no, there's the free flow of trade already. And when there's a free flow of trade, the national food hub becomes more viable.
More viable, yes.
And then when you terminate the rail at the terminal, no, at the Clark International Airport, we will also have a mobility hub there, a multimodal mobility hub. Ito na yung land. So they can land through the airport. They can travel through the train to the airport. And then sasaluhin na yun nung mobility hub for them to be able to, travel by land, by buses to the different points of North and Central Luzon.
Wow, very ambitious na plan talaga yung for the transport system in
Oh,
Clark,
I
sir.
might shoot myself in the foot, pero target niyan talaga within the next 3 years. Mabuo
Within the
yun.
next 3 years. I was just about to ask kailan yung timeline nito. I was expecting like 5 to 10 years. But
May
wow,
long-term
3
plans.
years.
May long-term plans.
Yes.
But of course, we want to see something concrete and something that is there already by the end of the president's term.
Alright, sir. So, ayun nga, no, these projects, especially sa transport, for sure, it's going to be very helpful talaga sa economic development ng area. No?
Definitely.
And with economic opportunities nga now coming in, eto, sir, what industries and businesses are being prioritized for the development of Clark City?
Well, as I've said, yun, the three things that I've said earlier, no? Agri-logistics,
Yeah.
aviation, and conferences and entertainment.
Alright, sir.
And
With-
retail. Sorry,
with that
retail.
said, no, sir, are there incentives or special programs for investors and entrepreneurs to interested in getting into Clark?
Definitely. Our partner in Clark, CDC, provides a lot of incentives for locators. Now, that's why there are a lot of locators within Clark, no, investing there. There are several government incentives specific to locating within Clark. No, I won't get into details, but also, for example, continuing to push the envelope for the National Food Hub. We are actually filing a bill in Congress for more incentives for investors who will get into the National Food Hub program. So this is beyond the incentives being given by the Clark Development Corporation. This is beyond the incentives that is being done. Kasi meron tayong Create More ngayon, di ba? The Create More bill. So we're pushing for more incentives for investors to be able to help us specifically for the National Food Hub project, together with our partners in Congress, in Senate, the Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Trade.
Alright, sir. When it comes naman sa community and social programs, no, ano yung mga programs kayo na in place to improve naman the quality of life of the residents of Clark? And
Yeah,
how are
we-
they adjusting to the rise in...
Yeah, we continuously, engage the community. That's very important, no? In any organization, there are shareholders and stakeholders. And
Yes,
stakeholders, we continually engage with them in terms of informing them, providing them the opportunities that lies ahead, no? With the focus as well on sustainability. Hindi masisira environment nyo, di ba? Hindi masisira environment nyo, but at the same time, we will be able to provide not just employment, even business opportunities. We put up an industrial area. Okay, we employ thousands of people. I mean, our locator employs thousands of people, no? But then again, there are support industries around that, Di ba? Si Mang Jo tsaka si Aling Kevin na canteen, for example, supports the the entire ecosystem. So it's not just employment, but business opportunities as well. But again, with the focus on sustainable growth.
Actually, yun, tatanong ko pangalan din yun, sir, ano yung mga initiative, no, to support small businesses and community-based enterprises. And ngayon, no, ano usually yung itong mga MSMEs, types of businesses na makikita natin sa Clark ngayon? Is it the usual mga Filipino-run na MSMEs ba? Or is there somehow para may trend ba tayo nakikita ngayon?
I think there's space for the for the entire ecosystem, diba? Sure, the main locators that puts up industrial, commercial spaces, there might be the big players, right? They're locators, they're sub-locators, might be the big chains inside the retail, for example. But as I've said, it promotes the economy of the entire province or even the neighboring cities in terms of the support infrastructure, support businesses. Sabi ko, ayan, food, for example, the gig economy.
Yes.
The gig economy will be supported. The more employees, the more residents you have in Clark, then the more, without branding, no? The more food deliveries and motorcycle riders you have servicing the community, no? So, it just doesn't stop at the investors that we invite, right? It grows to a bigger, it grows to a bigger community that will be able to generate livelihood from what we do.
Yung nga for me, how I see it, no, it's a good indicator, no, once yung mga food delivery apps are present, especially kung pag nasa province siya. It's a good indicator na may spending power na yung mga tao doon.
Exactly.
And the economy is really thriving in that
That's
area.
sa amin naman in SIAC, no? Or within the BCDA group, the main objective really is to push for us to be a significant contributor to the growth of the national economy.
All right, sir. So
And part of sorry.
Okay,
And,
sir.
and lastly, there's a lot of focus on the growth of Northern Luzon in terms of infrastructure right now, no. At SIAC, we're members of the Luzon Economic Corridor Steering Committee, no, which is led by our Secretary Frederick Go, in terms of pushing infrastructure, key infrastructure and businesses in North Luzon, no. And I believe, no, personally, is that the key of the growth of Northern Luzon will come from Clark.
All right, sir. So I'd like to ask more questions, but now we will pause again for another short break. Huwag kayong aalis, mga katribo.
And this break is brought to you by Angkas, Beat the Traffic, Bayad Center, hashtag Bigger Better Younger Bayad, and you can buy it all. Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart, live more today. Union Bank, it starts with you.
Tune in to Daily Tribune's show aimed at addressing the needs and problems of our OFWs from different corners of the globe. Hear about their plights and success stories every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. only on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
Straight Talk dives deep into pressing issues of leadership, politics, business, and more. Engage in insightful conversations with industry shakers, government leaders, and trailblazers every Wednesday at 10 a.m. only here on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now in YouTube.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister. Today, the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as Utol, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling. Now, who would you prefer to drive you home? Uto, the ride-hailing app to consider.
All right, and welcome back to Straight Talk. And still with us, Sir Jojit Alcazar.
Very good, thank you.
Nakuha ko na,
Oo
sir.
na,
Ayan,
on the
thank
third
you.
round.
The third round. All right, sir. So, next naman, let's delve in naman dito sa sa mga investors pa rin. Pero what challenges or hesitations have investors raised about doing business in Clark, and how is SIAC addressing this?
I mean, first I'm a couple of weeks into the job. But second, there've been very big interest from international communities in terms of investing in Clark. Now we've been in close coordination with the different chambers, the American Chamber, the European Chamber, and there are a lot of interest really in terms of investing in Clark, especially that we've shown them our flagship projects, no, that we want to implement. No, not just within the Clark Aviation Capital, no, which is CX jurisdiction, but also within CDC, the main zone, and within New Clark City, there are a lot of international interests. No? In fact, a week ago, no, or a couple of weeks ago, we hosted the Undersecretary of the Department of Commerce from the United States, and she brought along investors with them who are really interested in investing in the in Clark. No, so short of saying, no, are there challenges? Probably for me as as formerly from private, the challenge really is how quick you can get things done within the government. But the interest level is there. I've talked to a lot of people privately and together with the other departments. There are a lot of interests in terms of investing in Clark, no, and ultimately realize the massive potential of Clark. Ako, at the end of the day, one of the primary objectives also is to decongest, decongest Manila.
Yes.
Help decongest Manila. You build this development, you progress within the development of Clark. Then I believe, and tapos nandun pa yung airport natin, we believe that it will help decongest Manila, have the people from that part of the of Luzon, be based there, provide them equal opportunities as they would get here in Manila. Siguro that will be part of the solution that we can offer to the national government in terms of decongesting the metropolis.
How is the statistics ngayon, if meron, sir, if alam mo na with yung nabanggit yung with available employment in Clark na, and at the same time it's being targeted na yung decongestion with the availability of employment in Clark, no, has there been a number of people na rin from Manila, from Metro Manila, who opted to transfer to Clark?
In terms of numbers, and I don't have the actual ones no, with me right now. Most of the workers in Clark are what you call, how do you call that? Parang they're transients. Meaning they don't reside inside Clark. They reside in the subdivisions, in the villages, in the barangays around Clark. Most of them, majority of them, no. So, in terms of the numbers, millions of jobs have been generated for sure. Now, there's a slide on that. I don't have the actual numbers. There are a lot of locators. There are a lot of industries being supported, and there's a lot of job generation already, and we intend to continue to grow that, diba? Continue to grow that, and hopefully in the future when a law is passed wherein you can already probably hopefully in the future own. Kasi ngayon leasehold lahat ng properties, even residential in Clark. When there's a law that's passed that you're able to own property there, then I think that would be more incentive for more people to flock into Clark and personally invest for them and work and build businesses in the area.
I see. Ito, sir, I'm not sure if it's too early to say or ask this, no? Pero, is there a risk of overdevelopment or economic stagnation ba dun? And how is Clark City planning to mitigate these risks?
I don't think so. Our area is properly master planned. We have employed a master planner for the entire area where we specifically, place specific industries, specific businesses in specific spaces within the zone, no? Including preservation of, as you've said earlier, preservation of greeneries within the area. It's a carefully crafted master plan, right? The problem with some developments, I will not name any cities, is yung number one, wala master plan. Second, there's overdevelopment, no? Overdevelopment beyond the master plan that was indicated, if there was a master plan in the first place.
Yes.
Right? So here we adhere to the fact that we adhere to the rules that we have a master plan, we follow the master plan para the development of the area is within that master plan, and we don't do any overdevelopment that will result in most of the problems of urban areas.
With this master plan in place, no, sir, may pinagkuhanan ba tong inspiration from other economic hubs in other countries, no? And how did it adapt din dun sa inspiration na yun? And how does it plan to adapt din naman yung strategies dun sa master plan nyo sa local needs?
You know, speaking specifically of the aviation capital, I know the CDC and New Clark City, which is we're one Clark,
Yes.
no? Have specific master plans, no? But speaking specifically for the Clark Aviation Capital, all our development revolves around the airport, diba? The Clark International Airport. The industries that we support and we will support in terms of attracting investors are all in support of, not in support, but are all based on the fact that this one, the Clark International Airport, is at the center of it.
Alright, sir. Ito naman next. Na-mention din naman kanina na ang Clark hindi naman masyado dinadaanan ng bagyo. Wala naman masyadong strong earthquakes na nakaka-affect dun sa area, no? But still, given the vulnerability pa rin natin sa region nito, no, to natural disasters, how equipped is Clark to handle such events?
Well, as I've said, yeah, you're right in saying, in other words, disaster resilient location, no? The Americans, who were former occupants of Clark,
Oh, the area, yes.
really identified the area as the most disaster resilient area in Luzon. In fact, di ba, sa New Clark City, that's where we have our NGAC, our National Government Center, which will serve as a backup of the national government in case anything, the operation shut down here in Manila. May space na sila doon to operate, no? But in terms of getting ready for
Natural
such
disasters,
for
yes.
such a natural, in case it happens,
case.
and at the very, di ba, minimal possibility of it happening, all systems are in place there. Clark, through CDC, have disaster readiness programs, no? And then with the support of national as well, being situated in one of the capital provinces within the region, no? There's always Clark is ready. Clark is ready for that internally and with the support of the national government.
Alright. So, with that, no, let's shift naman sa digital space. So, evidently, it's becoming a tech-forward city. Just like how BGC is. No? it's on its course to be a tech-forward city. And ano naman yung measures in place, no, to protect the digital infrastructure naman of Clark. Lalo na, it's very critical sa operations ng
Yeah.
airport.
Well, in any new development, the utilities are very important. No? Connectivity, electricity, connectivity, power, and water. Right? So, I mentioned to you earlier in terms of our programs sa power, in terms of sustainability, sa water, no?
Yes.
In terms of putting up the catchments, recycling gray water. In terms of digital infrastructure, theoretical, because that was my expertise before,
Yes,
no?
yes.
Building smart cities. At the end of the day, what we are doing when we do development of there, and what we are currently doing, and what we will do in the future, is to be able to put that baseline of infrastructure at the onset. Meaning, we will already have our fiber conduits, because before you are able to run a smart city, you should have good infrastructure.
Yes.
So in our horizontal development, we will have common facilities, wherein kami na together with our development, we'll put the common facilities there for the ducts to be there, and the providers, if and when they want to come in, they will be provided spaces there, commercially.
Commercial.
And then part of what I was doing with the government before is I know for a fact that we have capacity coming in, or the capacity is here already.
Yes.
Now 2 terabytes given to the government of the Philippines, 500 of which will be maximized by BCDA, and it goes to Clark. It goes to properties of BCDA. So in terms of having, kumbaga, it's part of the National Broadband Plan. So in parts of in a way that the private can support providing key digital infrastructure, your private telcos, the government also will have a stake in putting key digital infrastructure there. Now, after that, then when you have that, then you can have your other vertical layers, no, to be able to run a true smart city.
All right, sir. So ito na, we're heading to the last part na of the interview, no. So lastly, how does Clark City plan to maintain its competitiveness as a central business hub in the Philippines, and what can the Filipino people expect of Clark in the near future?
Ayun, as I've said, no, speaking in behalf of SIAC, which is the Clark Aviation Capital, we will continue to push for it to be the true aviation capital
Yes.
of the Philippines. And when I say an aviation capital, no, the Clark Aviation Capital, not just nationally, but for aviation-related businesses that are, in the region, we also are dreaming, no, or moving toward being, as I've said, the MRO capital of Southeast Asia. All the servicing of the planes, servicing of the engines, and everything can be done and hosted within Clark. If and when that happens, no, again, moving toward the objective earlier, the key programs earlier of logistics, agro, aviation, and entertainment and convention hub. All of these industries, supporting these industries, will, I think, sustain the growth of the Clark Aviation Capital for, who knows, the next 10, 15, 20 years.
All right, sir. So with that, no, can we have your parting words na lang for the Filipino people here?
Goodbye. No, what? I encourage everyone to, to fly in Clark, no? To try the Clark International Airport whenever you travel within the Philippines or outside the Philippines. You'll be pleasantly surprised with the facilities there. And within SIAC, the Clark Aviation Capital, we will be building this new amazing city or capital for the Filipinos, and also for us to be able to attract more investors and more tourists to the Philippines. Thank you. Alvin, salamat.
Thank you rin, sir. So that wraps up today's episode of Straight Talk. No? A big thank you to Mr. Joseph Alcaraz for joining.
Alcazar.
Alcazar! Di ba? Kakamali ba hanggang patapos
Mali
na?
prompter eh.
Anyway, big thank you to Mr. Joseph Alcazar, no, for joining us and sharing his vision for the future of the Clark International Airport. And thank you to all our viewers for tuning in. And don't forget to follow us on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube for more insightful discussions on the topics that matter. Again, until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. I'm Alvin Kasiban. Thank you for watching, mga katribo.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Meralco.
Alam nyo ba kung saan napupunta ang binabayad nyo sa Meralco? Dito sa series na ito, isa-isahin natin yan para maipaliwanag ko po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Joe Saldarriaga ng Meralco Corporate Communication Office. Alam nyo ba na pag nagbabayad kayo ng bill sa kuryente, nasa mga 20% lang on the average ang napupunta sa Meralco? Sa katotohanan, nahahati sa iba't ibang components ang inyong electricity bill. Kumbaga parang pizza lang yan. Kasama sa binabayaran natin ay ang generation charge na napupunta sa generation companies o mga nag-ooperate ng power plants, transmission charge na napupunta sa System Grid Operator ng Pilipinas, na National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, at iba-ibang charges na napupunta sa gobyerno. Tulad po ito ng mga subsidies, taxes, universal charges at fit-all. Kung tutuusin, tulad nga nabanggit ko, nasa around 20% on the average ang kabuang bill ang binabayad sa Meralco sa pamamagitan ng distribution charge. Ito na ang pinaka-epektibong sistema para sa electricity consumers. Iwas abala ito para hindi na isa-isahin pang bayaran ng iba't ibang kumpanya na dinadaanan ng kuryente. Naway, nabigyan linaw ko po kayo kahit papano sa inyong mga katunungan ukol sa inyong electricity bill. Hanggang sa muli, ako po si Manong Joe, ang inyong lingkod.